I think Michigan current situation is a function that we've changed so dramatically. And so in the short term, we clearly don't have the revenue and resources to support the amount of government we have. So in the short term, we're going to have to spend less. I think that's just an obvious fact. Over the long term, we've got to ensure we don't continue to exacerbate that problem by putting taxes and regulation on top of business so that we're not allowed to succeed, so we can get back to the point where we're creating and generating revenues. Now, with that said, we clearly have to invest in those fundamentals of education and infrastructure and, again, our natural resources, because those are key assets to Michigan that allow us to succeed. So it'll require a bit of both, but I'm really focused on not spending too much in the short term to allow Michigan to get back on its feet. I work with a foundation that works with entrepreneurs and small businesses. These are businesses that are either in a startup stage or the very initial stages of growth. And it's difficult if, again, they don't have a clear direction on where the state's going or see a vision of where the state is, because of the opportunities for these businesses to go other places. And so it impacts the companies we work with, whether or not there's a coherent policy. Climate is an issue. Business climate and having a supportive business climate is a factor, and then on the other side of that, having a culture that supports entrepreneurship, job creation is also a factor. And so it's important that the state has a vision and then has a plan to see that vision through. I think the state, to be effective at encouraging entrepreneurship, it has to first of all make sure that our climate, our business climate, is competitive. And so that centers around traditional economic development tools of tax policy and regulatory policy. And we can't be out of line with our surrounding states and competitors. We also have to look at the cultural side, and we need to encourage an entrepreneurial culture. And historically, the state has done a decent job of looking at workforce development and focusing on education, and particularly community colleges, and doing some work around place-based. But the missing piece has been identifying entrepreneurs and embracing the entrepreneurs, because they are the ones creating jobs, and net new jobs in this country. And I would argue the missing piece of the puzzle is support programs for our homegrown entrepreneurs, and creating, again, a support system for that culture of entrepreneurship that will create jobs for the state in the future. Key reforms that I think are necessary for Michigan to prosper are, again, first of all, a business climate where we can create jobs and opportunity, and that centers around a tax and regulatory policy that encourages growth. I think that's first and foremost. Second, Michigan has changed, and we need to reform state government, because we just can't continue to support the size of government that we have. That's the second piece. The third is we've got to look at our key assets. We've got to go back and look at the fundamentals that will allow us to succeed, and I think they fall in three areas. It's education, it's investment in our infrastructure, and it's an investment in our amenities, like the Great Lakes, the natural resources, our place-based resources. And if we can get back to those, clearly Michigan can be as successful as other states. I think the good news is we've turned the corner. I think the good news is a lot of thoughtful people have looked at these last few years and challenges and have come up with a vision and a plan. And I'm optimistic that if people can come together around a plan and put in place policies, Michigan will see greater days ahead.